Welcome, guys. It is Brad with College SportsCast. We are here, week 25. It is mid February, and college basketball is heating up. And we've got number one versus number two, SEC. It's game day pick'em. Welcome in, guys. It is Brad with College SportsCast. This is Game Day Pick'em, week 25. Got John Hammonds here with me. What's up, Hammonds?
Hey, what's up, man?
It's Friday night, so it's Game Day Pick'em time.
Yep.
We have four massive women's games to talk about, and we have 10 great men's games to talk about. Before we do,
women's games.
If you're on Facebook with us, we appreciate you. Man, our Facebook's been growing. We're over 4,500 yesterday, I think, on our Facebook. We appreciate you. We have some that are sending stars. You can do that to help support us. We also have some that are subscribing to our page. It's only 99 cents a month. It does help us earn money. And if you subscribe, you get your own subscribers chat and your own subscribers page that I do post on. I've been in the chat during games and things of that nature, and try to stay in there at least once or twice a day. All right. Got that out of the way. And then second, before we get started, we are a part of Stadium Rant now, and we appreciate Stadium Rant. Their logo is in the top right-hand corner. Tonight, I do have that in the logo there, and also in the logo for Game Day Pick'em as well. So, all right, John, we're going to start with the women.
Yep.
And I've got four big matchups. These are on Sunday for the women. There's a few Saturday games for the women, but most of the big games are on Sundays, on the weekends for the women's, because Saturday's kind of the big day for men. So Sunday is the big day for the women. I'm going to start with, these are two teams. Ole Miss has been coming on. They're now 8-4 in the SEC. They beat Kentucky a week ago, and then they won a game in the midweek as well. Beat the fire out of Arkansas. Beat them bad at Arkansas. They are at Tennessee, and this Tennessee team, John, while they have 6 SEC losses, nearly every one of them is by 1, 2, or 4 points.
Yeah,
they're pretty good.
Yeah, they're pretty good. You know, they've had some games where, you know, they've looked really, really well, and
they beat UConn last Sunday, and now Ole Miss is coming in, and Ole Miss is a great defensive team. This is so Tennessee is like one of the top teams in the country offensively on the women's game. And Ole Miss is one of the, I think they're the second, maybe the first. They might be the first defensive team in the SEC. I think they're the first.
They knocked off UConn first time since 2007. They come back and they had to play LSU, which in that game they had a lead at one point.
They lost by 2 or something like that.
I felt like that. There were some plays there that they could have won the game with. Yeah. But listen, beating LSU on the road is a tough, you know, with Mulkey.
They've lost to LSU twice. I think at home by 1 point and on the road.
Well, they're going up against Fajay Johnson, Morrow. Listen,
Michaela
man.
Williams.
I don't care what anybody says. LSU on the road against a Kim Mulkey team is a hard place to play. It's tough to kind of, get up high on a win like they did with UConn and then kind of have to jump right back in and play another top team. It's difficult. You see that on the men's side as well. I like Tennessee in this game. I think they have a really good offense. They can score. Cooper is really, really good for them. On the other side, you got.
I think Cooper was named to one of those mid-season watch lists for Player of the Year this week. I don't know if it's Naismith, maybe.
Well, then you got Ole Miss on the other side. They lost to Oklahoma. They lost that game without Reagan Beers. Then they knocked off Kentucky, which
they smoked Arkansas. I think it was Arkansas.
I think they're the most confusing team in the SEC. Ole Miss.
I can tell you this: Coach Yo knows how to bring toughness and defense.
It's just they got a weird resume. They got, they look great one week and then they knock off Kentucky, like make it make sense. But that's the way it goes in the life in the SEC.
Well, SEC records: Ole Miss is 8-4. Tennessee's like 5-6.
They are, and but I think in this game, I think I'm going to take the Vols at home. I think they're just a better team here. I think Food City Arena is going to be rocking, and I think they'll come away with a win.
All right. So, this is going to be a tough one, I think. This is a tough game to pick because it is at Tennessee. I think I'm going to give Coach Caldwell the edge here just simply because this game is at Tennessee. But I'm going to tell you, John, Ole Miss has been playing well the last 2 or 3 games. They were tied basically with Oklahoma with like 2 minutes to go. They let go of the rope at the end. And then the last two games, they played really well, played more like the Ole Miss that was expected.
Well, they let go of the rope against Texas, too. They had Texas on the brink and let that game go as well. So.
They did. And Texas is really, really good. I've seen them in person.
They're really tough.
Last night, to be honest with you. And was sitting in front of Vic and Madison Booker. I mean, they're really, really good. We'll talk about them here in a minute. But I think I'm going to go with Tennessee in this one as well. All right, John, the next one is probably the big game of the week in women's college basketball for the first time ever. And I want to point that out. In women's college basketball, ESPN GameDay is going to Columbia, South Carolina for the first time ever. UConn at South Carolina. And South Carolina has had their number lately. Mm-hmm. I think they've won like 4 or 5 in a row.
Yeah. Well, South Carolina lost to Texas at the Moody Center a few days ago.
It's been a week. It'll be a week, and
here's the thing.
This week off.
At the end of the day, South Carolina is probably the best team still overall.
They did play and beat somebody bad
in the SEC. They're still the overall best team in the SEC when it comes down to things. And I think it being in Columbia, in game day there, South Carolina never loses at home.
Nope.
It's just one of those things. I think Paige Buckets, I call her, I think she'll have a really good game, but she's going to have step up if they want to knock off the –
have a good game, and Sarah Strong's really got to come in for them to have a chance here in this game, I think. Paige will have hers, and she'll have her somewhere between 16 and 24 probably. And Paige will probably have hers, but they really are going to have to get Fudd hitting some three-pointers. Sarah Strong, the freshman, is going to have to play really well and kind of compete with Joyce Edwards, who's the freshman with South Carolina, and kind of negate each other, really. South Carolina, listen, Dawn Staley is probably the current best coach in women's basketball. Let's be honest. Gino, for many, many years, has been the best coach in women's college basketball. But the last 5 or so has been Dawn Staley.
She's built a dynasty at South Carolina, which
And
is
came from nowhere, by the way. South Carolina didn't have a tradition, and now they do because of Dawn Staley. She signed a lucrative deal, a $4 million a year deal through 2030 in the last week to 2 weeks, something like that. And she's going to be there for the long haul. She is trying to build a true legacy here for South Carolina. They've had their number, and I can't go against South Carolina at home, man. I mean, they had their 57-game SEC winning streak. I want to say that again. 57-game SEC winning streak snapped at Texas last day. They had not lost in over 4 years. And I mean, it's just ridiculous the amount of winning that they do. And College Game Day being at a women's college basketball game is a huge deal. And I'm excited for it. And I'm going to take South Carolina at home in this one. All right, we're going to go. This is a top 12 matchup. Number 10, NC State is at number 12, UNC. This is a ACC matchup here, John. North Carolina is really good defensively, but NC State has been on a tear. And they're actually second in the ACC behind Notre Dame, who's number 2.
Yeah, I expect this to be a sold-out game. You know, it's a rivalry game.
Yeah, huge rivals too, yeah.
Courtney Banghart is having a really good year for North Carolina. You know, this is a really fun North Carolina team. They get up and down. They play really good defense. They can score. You know, NC State is a really good team as well. They've showed some really good things this year as well. But I think I'm going to take North Carolina at home. What Courtney Banghart has done in her 5 seasons at Chapel Hill are pretty impressive. She's done some really good things.
NC State's got a couple of girls that's been playing really well. I mean, just lights out well, to be honest with you. They've been racking up the wins. They've only got 1 loss in ACC play. They are really, really good. North Carolina has 3 ACC losses so far in conference play. I think North Carolina needs this one more, to be honest.
Yeah, I do. I think they do.
To stay in, because another thing that's happening on Sunday, on top of ESPN GameDay being there, is on Sunday for the women, the top 16 is going to be revealed as well for the first time.
Mm-hmm.
And UNC is hanging in that 12th spot. They've already got 3 losses in the ACC. I think they need this game a little bit worse than NC State does. And with it being a rivalry at home and them needing it a little more, I think I'm going to go with the Tar Heels in this one.
Yeah, that's where I'm going with it. Yeah.
All right, the last women's game we're going to talk about. This is a huge top 5 matchup, guys. Texas, who is on a great run. Mind you, they beat South Carolina in Texas last Sunday. That was the rematch. Now, South Carolina beat them pretty bad. Almost, it was like 18 points, almost 20 points in Columbia. But now LSU has 1 loss. They're like 24-1, 25-1. Texas is 25-2. This is number 3 versus number 5. It's going to be honestly, it's going to be a hell of a matchup.
It is. I mean, Texas right now is playing probably as good as anybody. You know, he's got 5 guards they're their top 5 scorers in the country.
Those two
Madison
big
Booker
girls,
is
those two big girls are fantastic as well, and they don't get enough pub.
Madison Booker is really, really good. You got Taylor Jones, Oldacre. They're giving teams fits in the paint.
Man, they're so big, physical.
This will be a big test for LSU. They're the second best rebound team in the country. I think they have a little bit more than Texas. Listen, Mulkey will find a way to get something going. She was 18-1 over 8 seasons. I think against Texas at one point when she was at Baylor. She dominated Baylor.
Yeah.
Now Texas has come a long way since then. If they can compete with LSU on the boards and keep Flau'jae Johnson.
Well, Anisha Morrow is the leading rebounder in the country, 14.2 a game.
If they can keep
for LSU,
Johnson out of the paint from scoring, which Johnson's going to get hers, but you got to limit everybody else too.
I'm gonna tell you, Rory Harmon defensively can get it done. I watched her last night.
She knows how to get the ball to her players. She knows how to throw it in the paint. Oldacre is an absolute beast in the middle. I think I'm going to go Texas here, Brad. I think they pick up their 8th quad one win.
I absolutely listen. This is a game. This is a complete toss-up. I'm going to tell you guys, this is a game. They could tee this game up 10 times, and I promise you it's probably going to be 5-5.
Yep. And Texas is one of those teams that we talked about the other night that have the chance to cut down the nets.
LSU does too. I mean, they got 3 legit stars on this team with Morrow, Johnson, and Michaela Williams. They got 3 legit stars. But guess what? Texas, they have so many good pieces and players. I mean, you take Holly at the shooting guard. You take Rory Harmon. You take Preston coming off the bench. You take Lee, who is a freshman who is playing well. Then you got Jones and Oldacre, not to mention Madison Booker, who scored over 1,000 points in a year and a half at Texas and just been an absolute beast, probably their best player. And we're just now getting around to mentioning Madison Booker. So, but who's better, Flau'jae Johnson or Madison Booker?
That's the big question in this game.
Who's going to be better Sunday, Flau'jae Johnson or Madison Booker?
I'm gonna go Booker this game.
Okay, I'm not going to go down the line. If you're going Texas, I'll take the upset on the road in Austin, and I'll take LSU because I think this game could go either way depending on how the coin falls, which side it falls on, to be honest. It's going to be an intense game to watch, and I can't wait to watch it Sunday evening. All right, John. That is going to wrap it up for the women. We had those 4 games that we were going to talk about on the women's side of things. And we're going to switch it up and go to the men. I've got 10 games. Going to start here with the first game that we're going to talk about on the men's games because they're tomorrow. I do have some point spreads on here for you. I've got Arkansas at Texas A&M. Texas A&M is an 8.5-point favorite at home in this game.
Arkansas is playing good. I think they've won 3 of their last 4. They beat Kentucky, Texas on the road. They almost beat Alabama. Right now, they're probably sitting right on that bubble line right now, which the bubble right now is not great. And, room for error is thin on the bubble, but Arkansas is right in that mix. This would even enhance their tournament chances even better with a win. Arkansas is probably a more balanced offensive team than A&M. A&M's really
Big Z's played well lately
on the defensive team. 3 of the Razorbacks' 4 losses have been by 4 or fewer points. That's a sign of a team that's getting better. But I'm going to go – I think I'm going to go A&M here, Brad. It's tough to win in College Station. And I just think A&M will get it done. I think they'll win this game. Now, I think Arkansas will keep it close for a while. But I just think Wade Taylor and Phelps and that group, a tandem at guard, I think.
I got a question for you real quick on this game. Did you see the pick of the new uniforms for Texas A&M today?
Nah, I wouldn't. I didn't see it.
I don't know who put that together, but it looks like an old school practice uniform. Like it's just a T-shirt. Like it looks terrible. I'm sorry. If that's their game uniforms, somebody needs to go back to the drawing board.
Yeah.
I'm not kidding. If you haven't seen them, look it up because they're terrible.
I'm picking A&M here. I think A&M's the more physical team. I think they're just a better overall team, and I think they get things done in College Station tomorrow.
Bill's on with us, says he's going more physical team A&M. I got to give it to Arkansas. They have picked it up. Big Z's played really, really well lately. He had 26 in a game. He had 27 in a game, I believe. Just a really, really good effort by Arkansas lately. I like to see it because it's some of our old players, to be honest with you. And I don't wish ill will on players. I just don't. So I do like to see that for the players. And Texas A&M is such a good, hard place to play. I think anybody here knows that I love Buzz Williams. I love the intensity that he coaches with and the defense that he coaches with, the intensity of the defense that he coaches with. And I'm going to take A&M here at home as well. I think A&M's a top 8 team right now in the country, and they're at home. So I'm going to take them as well. All right, John, we're going to the ACC. I picked up this game for the ACC on Saturday. Clemson is a 3.5-point favorite on the road at FSU. And I don't know if you guys saw this news this week, but Leonard Hamilton has said that he is going to hang it up at FSU at the end of the season. And, John, I part of the reason why I picked this is because Leonard Hamilton was with Joe B. Hall here at Kentucky for an awful long time. And I remember as a kid really liking and pulling, as a young kid, really liking and pulling for Leonard Hamilton. He helped him recruit players like Dirk Minifield and Sam Bowie and Skywalker, and a lot of really, really good players that I loved as a kid.
Yeah, he done some really great things at Florida State,
Miami as well.
Yeah. He had a stint with Kentucky at one point early in his career.
He was assistant under Joe B. Hall. That's where he trained from.
I'm going to say this, Brad. Clemson's looking like a really, really good dark horse right now.
They are.
They're 2-0 against straight up in the odds against top 5 teams. They just beat Duke. They just beat North Carolina. They're the 24th rated team.
God, Bill, don't say that. I don't know. I don't even know who I'd cheer for in that game.
And Bart Torvik.
Happy Valentine's Day.
I don't trust FSU against a team like Clemson right now. Even at home, Clemson's playing really, really well right now.
No, Bill, I'm working towards the Kentucky game.
I think FSU has got its hands full tomorrow. So,
Clemson has played really, really well lately. Let's be honest. I mean, they've taken down Duke. They played extremely well. Now it's been at home, and I do think they play better at home.
They do
than they do on the road.
But Clemson's just so good, physical. They get on the glass. They get after you. I think that's going to be a problem for FSU. They're going to have some. They're going to have some issues with Clemson's physicality.
I'll be honest with you. I have a little soft spot for Leonard Hamilton. I really like him. I liked him as a kid. I want to see him do well. But I can't pick. I can't pick against this Clemson team. They're 20-5, guys. I think FSU's like 15-9, clearly on the bubble. This is a game FSU needs, because they're not going to get a lot of great opportunities. And Clemson come to town happens to be one of them. This is a game FSU.
Yeah.
You said I think there's somewhere around 15-9 or something like that.
Not something around that, yeah.
Might be 16-9, somewhere around there.
You talking about Clemson or FSU?
FSU. Clemson's 20-5.
Are they 20-5?
I'm pretty sure.
Let's see. I'm trying to think the record.
Shefflin looks like Will Ferrell in semi-pro. Oh, B, that's a good one. I like.
Yeah, that. They're 20-5.
They're 20-5. Clemson is, yeah. Clemson's the real deal. Like they're a really good team. Really good team. Yeah. And I think FSU's like 15-9, 16-9, something like that. This is a game they need, but I'm going to take Clemson here. They just play with a lot of heart.
They do.
All right, Vandy at Tennessee. John, by this spread, you would never know that Vandy just beat Tennessee in Memorial. Now, this one's at Knoxville, but a 12.5-point spread?
Well, Vanderbilt's dropped 3 of their last 4 games. They've not built a lot of momentum since they beat Kentucky. They only trailed, I think, by 2 at half against Auburn, but they just couldn't keep up with them after that. Jason Edwards is having a really good year for Vanderbilt. They got Devin McLaughlin, A.J. Hoggard. Tyler Nickel is playing really well.
Most Hoosiers? I'm sorry.
This is probably a bounce back game for Tennessee. They just lost to Tennessee or to Kentucky Tuesday night. Their shooting has not been great. Chaz Lanier has not been Chaz, especially in SEC play at times. Now they got Zakai Ziegler. He's playing at a real good level right now.
Not Dalton Connect, I'll tell you that.
Milicic is playing really good. Gainey has some games where he kind of goes in and out. This game's in Knoxville. I think at the end of the day, I'm gonna say Vanderbilt covers this game, but I think Tennessee wins this game and gets the revenge factor when it's all said and done. Tennessee normally is pretty tough to beat in Knoxville.
They are. I'll give you that. I mean, they are, and I think Tennessee wins. I just think this spread's a little high.
Yeah, a little bit. that's why I took Vanderbilt to cover. So
I mean, I think it's more like a 10-point game or something, probably. So
somewhere around
that's
there.
what I'm going to do too, is take Vandy to cover the spread. But I still think Tennessee wins this game.
Yep.
Bounce back game. I just don't see them losing to Vandy at home after us beating them Tuesday night. All right, I am going to the Big Ten here. Wisconsin at Purdue. Purdue's coming off that loss, I believe, or was that on the weekend that they lost to Michigan?
It was a loss. Purdue's playing for a Big Ten championship.
They are.
I think they led at Michigan by 11 at one point. Couldn't hold the lead. Trey Wren has played really, really good for Purdue. They got Braden Smith.
Both of these teams ranked as well, by the way.
They got a really good freshman guard in C.J. Cox that's playing really, really well for them. They're the 8th ranked team in Kim Palm when it comes to offensive efficiency. Purdue is in touch to be a top 4 seed when it's all said and done. And we'll find out tomorrow with the bracket reveal, which should be a lot of fun. Everybody gets to see the top 16 seeds tomorrow. So I expect Purdue to be in that mix. I don't expect – I mean, I do maybe expect Wisconsin.
You think Andy Katz will have Kentucky at 30?
I don't know. That's another one. But John Tonja, he's a really good guard for Wisconsin. But I like Purdue here. This is in West Lafayette. Purdue hardly ever loses on the road or at home. They're really tough at Mackey. So,
and that place will be packed. It always is. Oh, so they must be playing right now.
Yeah, they are. They're playing.
He's talking about a game right now.
They're playing UCLA right now.
Okay, I got you. All right, so I'm taking Purdue at home here as well. Bounce back. I even think they'll cover the spread, to be quite honest with you.
Yeah, I do.
So I'm going to take them to cover the spread. I mean, Braden Smith's been fantastic this year. They have great guard play.
Yeah, they're really good.
Not just him, but the guard play is fantastic. So,
and they're doing this all without Zach Edey, and they're possibly going to be another top seed.
And they had a big guy replacement, but didn't he get hurt early? Is he back?
I think so. Yeah. To me, that shows me that Matt Painter is he's just prototypical, just a good old coach. Just knows how to put players in and how to mix and match, and he does really, really good at Purdue.
All right, John, this one was a little surprising. Not just the spread here. Houston is favored at Arizona. Arizona been playing some pretty good ball. We had them talked about them on game day last week, and they beat Texas Tech. And Arizona's played some pretty good ball lately, and Houston's a good team, don't get me wrong, but at Arizona is a tough place to play, and they're favored 1.5 over.
And they got
Arizona.
some really, really good perimeter guys. They got Love, Bradley, Lewis. I think they can match up real well with Houston. They can push the tempo. Arizona likes to play really, really fast. Arizona's coming off a really bad loss against Kansas State. And I think they're going to be motivated here. And I think,
they're only their second Big 12 loss, by the way.
Manuel Sharp has got to be better. He can't score 10 or fewer points the last 5 games. He's not really been playing great. He's had an ankle problem. He's their go-to guy. And they cannot afford to have him have off nights if they want to win games. And I just think being at Arizona and the focus will be back on for Arizona in this game. And I think they cover this game and they win this game.
Listen, you can't take anything away from what Calvin Sampson's done at Houston.
He's
And
done a really good job there.
kind of like what Bill was just talking about with Mike Woodson in Indiana. There was a time I used to make fun of Calvin Sampson because of what he did at Indiana. And even like the phone calls and all the stuff that he did that he wasn't supposed to. And there was a bunch of stuff. There was a time I used to kind of make fun of Calvin Sampson, but you can't really make fun of Calvin Sampson much anymore, what he's done at Houston
Mm-hmm.
the last 4 or 5 years. I mean, they've been at the top of college basketball for the last 4 or 5 years.
They have.
But I still say them being favored over Arizona at Arizona is a little bit surprising.
Mm-hmm.
I got to take Arizona in the 1.5 at home. I mean, I think that's the smart bet. Caleb Love getting it done at home.
Yeah, well, they got Bradley too, Lewis. They got some pretty good guys on the perimeter.
All right, John. I didn't talk about them all season long. I kind of got on the bandwagon to talking about Michigan State, and I'll be damned if they haven't lost like 3 of the last 4 or 4 of the last 5 or something. I hadn't talked about them all year. They won in December, won in January. I got on them. I think they've won one of the games that we've talked about now in like the last 3 weeks or something. And they've been not playing all that well as of lately, but they're playing an Illinois team that's been up and down and looked great and then looked horrible. And then, I mean, but Illinois is favored 4.5 points at home.
Yeah, I mean, Spartans, they're kind of in that little regress thing. They've lost, like you said, 3 out of last 4. I think you're going to have to take the home team here in this rivalry game. Illinois makes probably more 3-pointers per game than the Spartans. And Casper, I call him Casper because I can't pronounce his last name for Illinois, but he's really, really good for them. Will Riley is really, really good. This is a good Illinois team, and they was like my sleeper to make a run for the Final Four early in the season. And I think they're kind of trending back in that.
I saw your sleepers with UConn.
Yeah.
Come on, man. UConn can't be a sleeper.
Well, they have to be right now because they're not playing great.
No. I'm telling you, they can't be a sleeper. They're the 2-time champs.
Yep, but I wasn't the only article that had them as a sleeper. There's about 5 or 6 that had them as a sleeper.
Telling you, no, they can't be a sleeper. Just throwing it out there. Had to say it. I'm sorry. That was the first thing. I was like, that's ridiculous. They can't be a sleeper. They're the 2-time defending champs.
Just because you're the 2-time defending champs don't mean you don't go through stretches where you don't play great. That's all I'll say.
No, I can't count them as a sleeper. I'm sorry. Go ahead. Pick this game. I had to throw it out.
Illinois. I picked Illinois.
Okay. I'm going Sparty. Come on, Sparty. I talked you up. You played well. Jace, I'm looking at you. Jace Richardson, lead this team.
Yep.
I'm looking at you. I get 4.5 points here. All right. I'm taking Michigan State. All right. Kentucky at Texas. Texas is a 2.5-point favorite this evening. And I want to start out by saying this. So right as we were coming on, the availability reports come out for this game. Jackson Robinson, Lamont Butler, and Kirk Carissa are all 3 listed as out.
Yep.
However, Arthur Kaluma for Texas
Is most likely not going to play.
is also listed as doubtful.
So that changes the dynamics of this game.
If Kaluma's out, they have Johnson and
Pryor's one. He's been hurt a little bit.
yeah.
They got Tremont Mark from Arkansas.
Mark's a good player. I will give him.
He's not the greatest shoot, but Kentucky's playing better than Texas as of recent. Their offense is consistently, I think, going over 75 points. Texas has dropped 3 straight. But their defense can't buy a stop, man. They're right. They're in the conference. They're shooting 36% from deep. Here's a key stat that I've noticed: Kentucky limits in the SEC to 32% from 3-point range. And you wouldn't think that'd be the case with how our defense has been at times.
I have one question when it comes to this Kentucky team. Can we play defense like we play defense versus Tennessee
In South
the
Carolina.
same way that we play defense with everybody else?
Yep.
Because I'm going to be honest with you, John. I've watched Kentucky all season long. I don't miss a game. And the 2 Tennessee games are probably the best defense that this team has played.
Yeah. Here's the thing on the other opposite. Texas is entering that danger zone, Brad. I think even though Kentucky's going to be shorthanded, I think they cover and they win this outright on the road. They should, with the players that they got, Texas is not a great shooting team. And their defense is not great either. If you can kind of get ahead of them, you can put them away because they're not great at coming from behind.
I'm going to say this, John. This game, this is a Texas team that's kind of been down, let's be honest. I mean, outside of Johnson, who is leading the SEC in scoring, by the way, as a freshman.
Yeah, he's
and
going
I don't think a lot of people even know that Trey Johnson's leading the SEC in scoring at over 22
That's
points
the
a
thing.
game.
Johnson's going to get his. You just got to limit everybody else.
Yeah. But I'm just saying, I don't think a lot of people even know that he's leading the SEC in scoring.
Well, I think Kentucky wins this. I think they go to 18-7. They build a little momentum, 3 straight, and they come back home to Vanderbilt.
Listen, I hope you're right. My biggest fear with this game is there is no top 10, top 15 number beside Texas.
I get it. Yep.
I'm just going to lay it out there, man. This is, we're part of Stadium Rant. We're known for some of our rants and things of that nature. And I'm just going to throw it out there, man. Kentucky has to prove that they can come and play like they are capable of playing against teams that are not ranked.
You know what I like? I said it yesterday. Like a game like this that's winnable, and again, is come out and just have a stress-free game and move on.
When it comes to teams like Texas, like Vanderbilt, like Georgia, these are teams, if you look, these are teams that are near the bottom of the SEC standings.
Yeah. It's a game you should win.
I realize that we've got a couple of players out. 3 if you count Carissa. I'm not even counting him now. I'm going to call it 2 players out.
We'll call that a wash because he's been out since early December.
Right. So, I'm not even counting that. I think we got 2 players out, and it is 2 ball handlers, and I get it. But you have to figure out a way to win a game against a power conference opponent that is not ranked.
Yeah.
And that is near the bottom of the SEC.
And this is one of those that you need.
So figure it out. Listen, I love the way this team has played against the best. There is no doubt that this Kentucky team has played against the best. It's the Arkansas and the Georgias and the Vanderbilts and
Ohio State.
Ohio States, and hopefully not the Texas. That's what I'm saying.
I'm gonna give them the benefit of the doubt until they do.
It's those games that this Kentucky team is figuring out a way to give away.
Yeah.
And the other point I wanted to make is please play some defense, because I've seen it. Go look at the tapes, both of them against Tennessee. This team can play defense.
They can. I look for Ainsley Almanor to have a big night tomorrow.
He needs to have, especially with Jackson Robinson out.
Him and Brea
and Butler.
And Butler.
But I'm saying losing the 2, 3,
I'm gonna give you my
MVP a game.
I'm gonna give you my MVP for tomorrow. Trent Noah comes off the bench and gets about 20.
I don't know if he'll get 20. I think Trent Noah will play good.
He's just a good Kentucky kid. I think he's going to have a breakout night like he did against Tennessee. I just got a feeling. So,
okay. The last point before I make my complete pick here that I want to talk about, I mentioned this a while ago when you talked about the top 16 reveal tomorrow. John, what in the hell is going on in Andy Katz's head?
Yeah. I think he looks at some.
Seriously, dude. If you follow college basketball like you're supposed to, as the March Madness for men's college basketball, the site that you work for and everything, please look at college basketball a little bit. There is no way. That is asinine. Seriously, asinine. For Andy Katz to have Kentucky on Monday before this Tennessee game, he had Kentucky as 30th in his Power 37. John, have you seen Kentucky's Quad 1 resume?
Yes, I have.
Has Andy Katz seen Kentucky's Quad 1 resume?
A lot of people, I'll talk about this at the end. We'll do a final buzzer real quick on the bracket reveal, and we'll talk about this.
Hey, that's all I want to say, man. Andy Katz, please wake up and put your brain in this week on Monday morning.
Yeah.
I'm dead serious. All right, Kentucky, you have to find a way. You cannot lose another one of these games on the road to the bottom half of the SEC.
No.
Can't do it. You got to find a way to win this. I don't care if we're down 4 players.
Yep.
All right, Ole Miss is at home versus Mississippi State, another rivalry game in Oxford, 4.5-point favorite by the Rebels.
Bulldogs are playing not great. I think Ole Miss is going to keep them in check this game. Their defense is really, really good. I think the turnover battle will be big. And I just think they'll be more efficient offensively. Give me Ole Miss to cover. Mississippi State has surrendered 83 points per game in their past 4 games. That's terrible. Mississippi State ain't good right now. They're they had the great year early in the season where they beat Memphis. They had some good wins early, but they just kind of fell off the map a little bit.
Yes, John, that was me.
Yeah. Yeah. So give me Ole Miss. They win this game.
Just letting you know, Andy Katz.
Yeah.
All right. Listen, I love Chris Beard. I like Chris Jans as well. This is the battle of the Chris's, by the way.
Yeah.
You got, Chris Jans versus Chris Beard. And I like both. However, I like Chris Beard better. Jans, I feel like this with Jans. I feel like Jans is more of a hard-nosed, tough defensive guy, but I don't really think he coaches the offense all that well.
Mm-hmm.
I just think he's a hard-nosed, tough defensive guy, which helps win ball games in a lot of cases. But against the best, I feel like most of the time he comes out on the short end of the stick.
I do. Yeah.
So I'm going to take the Rebels here at home. All right, now this game is on Sunday. I kind of switched these up. I put the number 1 versus number 2 at the end. I normally do this a little bit different, but this is a big game. Creighton is one of 2 teams that beat St. John's by 1 point on Creighton's home floor. This is the rematch.
You mean Russia?
Russia.
Russia plays at St. John's on Sunday?
Yeah.
There's a joke going around that somebody from the Creighton basketball account, I don't know the whole story behind it, but there's something.
Russian or something?
No, it's something I can't. I'd have to look it up. There was something that had happened.
I hadn't heard it. I've been way too busy the last few days.
I'm not real sure what it was about, to be honest. I think
Creighton is one of 2 teams that beat them by 1.
No, I'll tell you what it was. It was a woman. Her name was Karen McGee. She had a photo of her apartment in Omaha.
Yeah.
That kind of resembled a 1930s scene from Russia. And by late afternoon, there was a bunch of people going from everywhere, just saying all kinds of stuff and all this stuff, and said time to order DoorDash, Grubhub, Uber Eats, Postmates, Instacart, or something like that. And it looked like a photo from Russia, and it was literally living outside of an apartment complex in Creighton. Like somebody took a big joke about it and just turned it into. It ran wild on the internet for a long time.
Hey, Creighton has played pretty good lately. They struggled early in the year. They're one of 2 teams that beat St. John's. This is the rematch here in New York. What do you think here?
I like St. John's in this game. I say that because I look for them to bounce back after losing the other night to
Villanova beat them by 2 on the road.
I think they're going to play a little bit better this time. I think they take care of business. Rick Pitino's done a really good job with this team.
Kalkbrenner in his 22nd year at Creighton.
Yeah, seems like he's been there that long, yes.
Kalkbrenner's like 32 years old now.
But I'm going to go St. John's here.
Oh, me. I'm just joking. Just joking. It's a joke. I'm sorry. He's a great player, but he's been there forever. Seems like he's been there forever.
Yeah, he's been there quite a while.
The Blue Jays have been playing great lately, to be quite honest with you. And if they hadn't have won the first game, and Pitino's fire is probably going to get the Red Storm fired up here. The Johnnies are going to be itching to get this win. For Pitino, probably. it's in New York. I'm gonna take the Red Storm in this one as well. All right, this is the big game of the week, John. I have got to bring this up. Auburn versus Alabama. Auburn's number 1 in the country. Alabama's number 2 in the country. This is the first time ever in SEC history in basketball that number 1 versus number 2 are playing each other.
Yep. And first in-state rivalry since Memphis and Tennessee back in
2008.
Yep. That was the year that they had Chris Lofton and Derrick Rose.
Speaking of in-state, John, I even got to throw this little nugget at you, and maybe you've heard this week. In football, this game is known as the Iron Bowl. All right, yeah. And it's well known. It's probably one of the biggest rivalry games in all of college football, and it's 2 teams that have both won national titles, been number 1 a lot of times in the polls. This, even in football, there has never been an Auburn versus Alabama game 1 versus 2.
That's insane.
Even in football. Is this the biggest Iron Bowl in the history of the Iron Bowl?
I think it has to be. I mean, you got guys like Janai Broome, National Player of the Year. He's very great in the middle. They got Dylan Cardwell, a real good rim protector. On the other side, you got Mark Sears, Grant Nelson, playing really good ball. Young Blood's playing really, really good.
Young Blood.
They're going to make things difficult for Alabama.
Every time you say Young Blood, I think Uncle Drew.
Around the basket. Auburn has the best 3-point defense in the SEC.
John don't like my craziness sometimes, I don't think.
Sometimes I do. If Alabama gets too reliant on the 3 tomorrow, they're going to lose this game.
You got a lot to learn, Young Blood.
Yeah.
Every time I hear that, that's what I think of, Uncle Drew.
I think I'm going to take Alabama to cover at home.
This one's big, man. I mean, this is the biggest game. Honestly, this is probably the biggest game in SEC history. It's never happened, 1 versus 2. SEC started in 1933.
Alabama's good at defending the 3 too. We could have a knockdown drag out.
And I was shocked when I saw the stat that number 1 versus number 2 has never happened in the Auburn-Alabama rival series, not even in football. Yeah. I was like, that's pretty big time, to be quite honest with you. Auburn, I think, has been the best team in college basketball this year so far. Through, February the 14th, Valentine's Day today. I mean, I still think Auburn's been the best team in college basketball. However, Bama's not far off, and they are tough as nails at home.
Mm-hmm.
This game, because Auburn plays some decent defense.
They do.
But they also are pretty fast-paced themselves. And Alabama at home, over the last, I think it's 4 years, Alabama has scored plus 100 22 times.
Well, and the thing about
Auburn
is they get behind, they can come back really, really quick. Like they're so difficult to put away. Florida found that out.
They lead the nation 22 times plus 100. And this Auburn team can put up high 80s, 86, 90, 88. And I think this team is going to be a darn track meet.
Yeah, it's going to be up in the 80s or 90s at least.
I think it's going to be a track meet. I really do. Like, I think they're going to have to pass the baton.
Yeah. Basically, yeah. It's going to be one of those games.
I'm pretty sure that's the way this game's going to be.
Yeah.
I'm
taking Alabama at home, though. I think they'll cover this, and I think they'll win this game. I'm going to take them to cover and win. So,
I really, really like this Auburn team.
yeah, but you got to consider this might be the biggest game, which is probably going to be for Auburn too. But Alabama, that place tomorrow is going to be an animal kingdom, man. Like it's going to be absolutely.
Well, it's not going to be the jungle.
It's not going to be the jungle, but it's going to be something. It's going to be close to it.
It's going to be an airplane hangar.
Yeah, it's going to be.
That's a little inside joke with Alabama's.
They wear their hard hats. You know, the hard hats. Yeah.
People say it looks like an airplane hangar.
Yep.
The people from Alabama, some people that I know.
Sorry,
all right. That's a little joke. But anyways, listen, it's a tough place to play. Gosh, this is going to be a knockdown, drag-out fight. There is a return game in this series this year. So we could get another 1 versus number 2, maybe. Auburn lost last week, retained the number 1 spot over Alabama. So that might play a little small role in this to give them just a little bit edge of a motivation, because I'm sure there was some Alabama folk on this team that thought they might have been number 1 this week. Gosh, roll Tide. That's all I'm going to say, I guess. And for all you Alabama fans, friends of mine, I used to live down here in this area, and I know a lot of Auburn, and I know a lot of Alabama fans. And I don't say roll Tide very often. So you better enjoy it. Because there's a huge part of me that really wants to pick Auburn to win this game. I really like this Auburn team, but at home, I think Alabama's they're gonna click and maybe break 100 in this game.
Yep.
All right, that wraps up our show.
I want to kind of. Oh, go ahead.
I will let you do a final buzzer here. Let's talk about the reveals. We got men's and women's. We got the men's on Saturday and the women's on Sunday.
I think the men's is at 12, right before Illinois and Michigan State.
And the women's is early too on Sunday.
Wisconsin and Purdue, so it is. Yeah.
It's like 11:30 or something like that.
The NCAA chairman will be there. Clark Kellogg will be there. Seth Davis, and I think
Jerry Palm's gonna be there.
Unfortunately.
I don't know why they can't pick somebody. Listen, I'm gonna tell you guys right now, Brad Harvey is a hell of a lot better than Jerry Palms. I'm just saying.
Well, the fact is they're using his CBS bracketology to break down the thing. I get it from that standpoint.
I don't, because he don't need to be there. Come on now.
But
I mean, I can put names on a dartboard better than he can, and just throw darts at it. Come on.
And then the women have theirs on Sunday, which I think is a really big thing for the women too. Seeing where the women are going to be at, and I think
I'm on a roll tonight.
I think Kentucky will be in that mix. I think they'll be a 3 seed or a 4.
Listen, Kentucky has struggled the last 2 games, but they've played 2 of the better defensive teams in the country, more physical defensive teams in the country. And I'm going to be honest with you. This team is good. Kentucky's team is good. They're not quite ready for
the big leagues yet.
The physical beast defense. And that's what some of those teams are. And they're both great offensive rebounding teams.
And there's a somber moment tomorrow. Greg Gumbel won't be with us. He usually does this. That was another part of this. I kind of, he passed away in December with a battle from cancer. And college basketball is never going to be the same without Greg Gumbel. Let's just be honest. It's going to be tough to see him not on that.
Who's the guy that's doing it now in his place? That's leading the desk.
Zachoria or something.
Yeah.
Adam something. I can't remember.
Adam something is his last name, but I can't
something. Yeah. Name. He does a good job, I think, but it's just nowhere near, the 15 seed out of the.
I'll take Clark Kellogg and Seth Davis. I'll take all of them. And listen, I'm not big on those guys, but Lord have mercy. Adam too. Jerry Palm, y'all can do better. Seriously.
And the 15 seed coming out of the MVC, the Bradley Braves. That's going to be sad not to hear that anymore. That was one of his trade. He'd always make sure the team got recognized in a way that they got recognized, and he always told what their record was and how they finished. Sad day tomorrow when it comes to not seeing him on the set. But I got an update for you, Brad. I know we have our Kentucky Big Blue show on Monday.
Did Andy Katz wake up from his coma?
And senior night is Monday night for Hallie Collins. And I wanted to put this out here. And I wanted to actually go to that to honor her and support her because I've supported her for 4 years. Maybe we can rearrange the Big Blue cast on Monday night. If that's possible.
So we've been doing it at 7 your time.
And the game's at 7:30.
Okay. So well, maybe we can do it a little bit earlier or something.
Maybe a pre-recorded, maybe something like that.
Yeah.
Last time I wanted to tell you before we got.
Yeah. All right, we'll talk about it over the weekend.
Here for a little recognition because they're getting ready to start regional tournament. The district starts here probably in maybe another week or so. Tournament play is coming, Brad. The greatest. I tell people this all the time. Speaking of the bracket reveal and with the final buzzer, championship week is one of the greatest events in college basketball.
It's coming soon.
Top to bottom. If your team's really good. Now, if your team's not great, say a Syracuse, FSU.
Buzzer beaters and it's pretty exciting.
If you're a fan of college basketball, it's great. But if your team's not playing that great, a loss, Syracuse, FSU, teams that are down below the pack, try again next year is all I can say. I hate to say it like that, but that's just it. It's tough as a fan when your team ain't playing great. But it's fun when your team's in the mix and you got an opportunity. So one of the greatest months in college basketball because it's one day closer to the Masters. I love the Masters, by the way. That's one of my – I don't like golf in general, but I love the Masters.
Andy Katz.
He's getting on the –
Jim Nance is walking to the 18th fairway. Masters, you have to be very quiet when you talk about the Masters.
Vern Lundquist used to speak on the yes, yes. I used to love some of the older generation guys.
All right, check out the Real Fresh channel if you haven't done that. He's a big part of us now.
I apologize, everybody. Brad went off a tangent tonight. I don't know. He must have had something in his coffee this evening.
I've had too much coffee, probably. That might be part of it.
I just wanted to say, don't want to get into details, but pray for a member of Brad's family tonight while we're on here. I know everybody, we joke and tease, but I don't really want to get personal. I just want to say that for our supporters out there, just remember our Brad's family tonight as we.
It's been a rough week, man.
It has.
It's been busy. I've had a lot going on, including some stuff with family.
So just keep Brad in your prayers and just hope Kentucky can beat an unranked team tomorrow, and he'll feel a lot better too.
Yeah, and so will somebody else that we're talking about if they do.
We'll be riding high cotton. So
yeah. All right, guys. We will see you Monday for the Big Blue Hoops cast, and I hope that we have a couple of wins to talk about over the weekend. Because Kentucky women plays Georgia, and
the women's are starting to
Kentucky plays Texas, and I hope that we have two teams that are inside the top 16 in the reveals. So we'll have some really good stuff to talk about.
Well, the women are kind of hitting a stretch right now, like the men.
But they have a very, very winnable game on Sunday.
And by the way, I think Indiana is about to lose this game, if just by judging.
Who's your daddy?
Yeah, they're getting ready to lose to UCLA. So.
Oh, Mick Cronin's going to be in Bloomington soon, according to John.
Brad. You need to go sleep tonight, Brad.
Oh, me. Mick Cronin's beating his new favorite team.
Yeah.
All right, guys. I'm hanging it up.
Yeah, you better.
y'all have a good one. I had way too much fun doing this.
Have a good one. Good night.
All right. See y'all.